Welcome back to Book Break. It is time for our April book haul. I have got a box here in front of me. Can I lift it up again? I just did it for the thumbnail. Get my strength up to show you. This is a box full of some of the most exciting books that Macmillan published in the month of April. Okay, I'm putting it down. That is very heavy because we've had a great publishing month. I don't even know most of what is in this box. I've just seen the ones that were on the top that you could see just then. It has been packed for me as a surprise by Elle, the other half of the Book Break team, so I don't know what's going to be in here. Let me just start randomly picking things out. This is The Attic Child by Lola J. This is historical fiction with dual timelines. It's set between 1907, when a 12-year-old boy called Celestine spends most of his time locked in an attic room of this great big house by the sea. And that bit is inspired by a true story. So the author was inspired to write this. Lola J went to the National Portrait Gallery and she saw these photographs of a young African boy who had been taken from his home to become the companion assistant to a British explorer. And from looking at these photographs of this young child, she was inspired to write his story in a fictionalized version. So that is where Celestine comes from. So in 1907 we have that storyline. Decades later we meet another young child, this time a girl, a young orphan who spends a lot of her time secluded in that same attic, and so she starts to uncover clues about Celestine's life there and explore his history. Next up, I've got Sister Song by Holland. This one is out now in paperback. This is a retelling of an old British folk ballad called The Two Sisters about a girl who is drowned by her jealous sister. So Holland takes that as her inspiration and then rewrites it in this story, adding in the story of the third sibling, often overlooked. Then I've got Be a Triangle by Singh, who is a YouTuber. This is the story of how I went from being lost to getting my life into shape. See what she did there? It's a triangle. As well as being a YouTuber, which is where I first know Singh from, she is also an actress, an author, a creator, and she knows that sometimes life just sucks. So this book is a safe space where readers can learn how to create a sense of peace within themselves. And the idea of being a triangle is this idea of creating a solid foundation for your life that can be built on but can't be destroyed. So it's a way of keeping yourself strong and keeping yourself safe. Another one out now in paperback is Lily's Promise, written by Lily Ebert along with her grandson. This is her story of surviving Auschwitz and how she found the strength to survive and live after that. You may have seen Lily Ebert in the news a few years ago. She made headlines when, along with her grandson, she set out on a social media campaign to track down the American soldier who was part of freeing her from Auschwitz, and who, when she was set free, he gave her a banknote on which he had written a message. He wrote on this note, "The start to a new life, good luck and happiness." And those words were at that moment so profound for Lily. And so all those years later, she set out to try and track him down. And that gained headlines. People were so moved by her story. And this is even more of her story in her own words. Ooh, this is my first time actually seeing the finished copy of this one, The Green Sketching Handbook by Dr. Ali Foxon. So this is a book about how to relax, unwind, and reconnect with nature. And what I think is really cool about this is a book where it doesn't matter if you can't draw, which is great because I cannot draw, can't even get started. But despite that, it's got these practical tips and exercises that will help you use the act of sketching to reconnect with the nature that you see around you. So if to you that looks like doodling, great. If that looks like works of art, fantastic. To me, it'll be more like the doodling one. But some of the amazing benefits of sketching in nature include it helps you see more, helps you notice more around you, helps you remember things, helps you slow down, lifts your spirits. The benefits just go on and on. Concerning My Daughter, I've read and loved this one by Kim Hyjin and translated by Jamie Chan. This is a really short little story about a woman who is struggling to accept her daughter's life. So her daughter is in a relationship with another woman, and that goes completely against our main character's understanding of what family means. And so when her daughter asks, because of financial difficulties, to move home back with her mother is really resistant to the girlfriend moving in as well. And the reason I thought this book was so amazing is because on the surface, That mother is a character that I would normally very much struggle to empathise with. We think in very different ways, and yet this book is written in such an empathetic way that I really began to care for this woman. And we do see her going on a journey in her own mind. So her family situation is contrasted for her with what's going on at work. She works in a care home, and there is a particular elderly dementia patient who she is very close to and cares a lot for, and yet her bosses want her to reduce her standards of care, and they don't really accept this woman's chosen life and definition of family. And so those two things happening simultaneously do force our main character, this mother, to change her mind and go on this journey, even though it's really hard for her, because she does ultimately come from a place of love. It's just that her daughter's way of living her life doesn't fit everything that this woman has been taught and to want for her daughter. She ultimately cares about her, and it just takes her a little while to learn these new ways of living. So I thought it was wonderful. Another book now out in paperback, The Book of Hope by Johnny Benjamin and Britt Pfluger. Johnny Benjamin is a very famous mental health public speaker, activist, campaigner. He has gone through many mental health struggles of his own and learnt how to come through them. And so he's the author of a previous book, The Stranger on the Bridge, which is his own story of reaching a point where he nearly decided to take his own life and then was rescued by a stranger on the bridge, and they reconnected later. It's a really beautiful story, and this book is full of hope and advice for how to bring more hope into your life when it seems bleak. There are 101 contributors to this book, so you get loads of different perspectives, which is really helpful because everyone is going to come at this issue from a slightly different place. Aha! Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey Mcquiston. This is a book that has been huge on BookTube, on Bookstagram, on BookTok, and now we've got our own edition of it. This is a romance between the Prince of Wales, a ginger prince called Prince Henry, and the president's son. And they are forced to have a fake friendship because they previously had been enemies, and this was causing UK-US relations to become a little rocky. And so they are told they need to publicly appear to be friends. So they set out on having a fake friendship. And this then combines so many romance tropes that people love. We have enemies to lovers / friends to lovers. We have the fake dating trope kind of remixed into a fake friendship trope. We have the secret romance trope and some pretty steamy sex scenes. And another Casey Mcquiston, this is One Last Stop. I've been talking about this book quite a lot recently because I'm so excited to read it. In fact, I'm going to take this home with me right now. This is a time-traveling queer story about two girls who meet on the subway in New York and fall for each other, except that one of them is actually lost in time. She is from the 70s and she's not supposed to be stuck on the subway. This is another great book about mental health. What Happened to You? This is written by Oprah Winfrey along with Bruce D. Perry, who is an expert in trauma and brain development. And this book is essentially a long, very personal conversation between them about trauma, opening up a lot about Oprah's own childhood trauma and then talking about the ways that that can affect us later in life. And it's really interesting because actually the book touches upon how strongly we can be impacted by our childhood experiences, whether they're good or bad. So this is really relevant for a lot of people, no matter what kind of childhood you had. Oh, I'm so excited about this one. Young Mungo by Douglas Stewart. How fantastic is this cover? This is a love story between James and Mungo, two working class men living between two housing estates in Glasgow who are supposed to be enemies, and so this is a Romeo and Juliet-esque story. The love that they develop for each other is totally forbidden and misunderstood in the world that they live in, so it's about them trying to carve out a space for themselves where they can be safe. And once again, look at that cover. It is not that often that we have a book that so explicitly has two boys kissing on the cover. I just think it's gorgeous. Aha, the new Fiona Cummins, which is also behind me. Whole rows of it. Fiona Cummins writes dark, creepy books, and I love them. This one says, wife, husband, friend, detective. Someone knows the truth. All of them are lying. What is this one about? A family has vanished from their house without a trace. In the 15-year-old daughter's bedroom, 3 words are scrawled across the mirror in blood. Make them stop. What has happened? We have a David Baldacci in here. This is another Aloysius Archer book. Dreamtown, where murder and mayhem hide behind every corner. So this is historical crime set in 1952 Los Angeles. It is New Year's Eve, and P.I. Aloysius Archer is approached by a screenwriter called Eleanor Lamb who would like to hire his services as she suspects someone is trying to kill her. So we've got this real contrast in the book of the glamorous, glitzy side of LA with its seedy underworld. What is this? Ooh, this one is a sequel, Rumesa Ever After. So this is a sequel to Rumesa, which was a retelling of a jumble of fairy tales. Also just want to make sure I capture on camera how shiny it is. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fiercest one of all? Love it already. So ever since she escaped her tower, Rumesa, who's a kind of Rapunzel figure, has been searching the land far and wide, determined to find her long-lost parents. But soon she is pulled into a dark, magical adventure. Well, that's what we like to hear. Next up, I've got Truth Be Told by Sue Divin. This one is set in Northern Ireland in 2019. It's about two teenagers, Tara and Faith. Their lives on opposite sides of a political divide could not be more different, but when they come face to face with each other, they are shocked to discover they are almost identical. Could they be connected? Now this is a gorgeous book, The Book of Difficult Fruit by Kate Lebo. This is another one that is out now in paperback. I love this. This looks very different from the hardback cover. I'll show you what that looked like here. And now it has become this. This is a collection of lyrical essays and recipes inspired by 26 fruits. It is an A to Z of difficult fruits, from aronia to face clock. Never even heard of that. N is for Norton grape and T is for thimbleberry. So the essays begin about fruits, but they take all these sideways turns, giving insights into life, relationships, modern medicine. Really interesting. And as I said, it's also a recipe book. Another one now out in paperback is Think Like a Breadwinner by Jennifer Barrett. So this is a book that confronts the fact that women aren't taught to think like breadwinners. It's not something that a lot of us are raised to do, even though that's very outdated because a lot of women now are breadwinners. So this book is a manifesto to help women make the most of their money. That sounds really helpful. I need all the advice I can get. Jen will teach you to question your assumptions about money, save and invest successfully, negotiate your salary, that's not easy to do, and create the life you want. This is a brand new book, Single Bald Female by Laura Price. This is about a woman in her 30s whose life is suddenly turned upside down by a cancer diagnosis. Around her, her friends' lives continue to follow the script with the big white weddings and the baby scans, with her own future so uncertain the only thing Jess is sure of is that she's being left behind. At its heart, this book is actually a story of friendship and of love. It is a story about this woman's battle with cancer, but it's also about the other kinds of unexpected twists that life can throw at us and how to make each day count, regardless of how we thought our life was going to go. And to finish up, there are 3 more books in here and they are all children's books, which is very exciting. I've got The Boy with Wings by Lenny Henry. This is an adventure story about a boy called Tunde who sprouts wings and learns that he is the only thing standing between Earth and total destruction, so no pressure. And this one has got an exclusive comic book adventure inside. Oh my goodness, so it does. Well, that's fun. This gorgeous thing is A Song of Gladness by Michael Morpurgo and Emily Gravett, which is a story of hope for us and our planet. It's got these really, really beautiful illustrations showing off everything wonderful and magical about our world. It's a book to really help children understand how amazing our Earth is and how we need to save it. And finally, finishing with a personal highlight, Busy Party. I love these books because you can play with them. See, I made balloons pop out. So you can go through this book and decorate your house for a party. You can make fireworks go off. Best party ever. So let me know in the comments below which of those books you are going to add to your TBR first, and let me know what else you have hauled this month that you are really excited about. I will link here to a playlist of all of our previous book haul videos so you can go back through them all, collect the whole set, and I'll see you next time.